Like I told y'all, it's gonna be tough for me to do videos, but I can definitely go live and we can talk live and we can talk about some of this draft stuff because we love draft talk because as Dallas Cowboys, we don't have nothing else to kind of talk about as far as free agency or anything like that. And I think that a lot of teams are honing in on what they're going to do draft wise. So what I want to do right now is talk about defense. Micah did us a favor. Not did us a favor. He did the team a favor, honestly. He did the Cowboys in the front office a favor by showing up to voluntary workouts. He did the organization a favor. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to explore some of the defensive help that we could go after early on. Life's Crazy said this is embarrassing that Micah's even in camp without a contract. So he's under contract. The issue with him is it's about the extension. So he'll be going into his the 5th year option this year. That's the issue. So when you draft the first round guy, you got the 5th year option, and so what you want to do is you want to extend so that 5th year option will be part of what the extension is. You know what I'm saying? And it saved cap money now, which they could bring in other players. Um, it could save cap money and have cap relief this year, and then they can draw up the contract however they want for the rest of the years. So Life's Crazy. You must have watched Balls because he said I wouldn't have done them nothing. Zach cried, got paid. I don't even think Zach cried for real. For real, Zach was just doing business, and he saw that they caved every time something like that happened. And I mean, it is what it is. I ain't mad at Zach for getting his money. Honestly, if Micah would have done it, I wouldn't have been upset. And the last couple of voluntary camps, I think Tuck talked about it on his videos and stuff. Micah hadn't shown up to those either. So, yeah. What's up, David? I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm doing really good. Yesterday, the live yesterday helped me get a lot of stuff out to you guys. It helped me find out some things about myself as well. And probably in about 45 minutes, I got my first therapy session because I definitely got to go through some therapy based on what I saw, what I experienced. So that's one thing I will tell people. Don't overlook therapy. If if you have the opportunity to do it, and it's through my job. For the most part, if you have a 9 to 5, you have access to some type of therapy. So I would suggest everybody look into that. Thank you. With Life's Crazy, what upsets me, they use that excuse. We had to pay our guys, but no sense of urgency. I agree. I agree with that. And some of that is the agents know. The agents know how to play them. They know how to play them like a fiddle. They know how to play them to the point that they know when they're gonna cave. Some of these guys are really good at their job. So it's not so when the Joneses say stuff like it's not all on us, they're not wrong in that. But it's like there's a formula on how to play y'all. There's a playbook on how to play y'all. There's a formula on how to get paid. And if you can endure some media bashing and stuff like that, then you'll be all right. You'll be okay. And that's the part that we haven't seen yet. But yeah, I'm happy that he was there because I forget who said it. Um, I forget who said it on Twitter, and I don't want to get the person wrong because it could have been AOC. I think it might have been where it might have been Law. I forget. I don't want to get the person wrong, but somebody said like you could think it could have been Foots. It was one of them. You know what I'm saying? Somebody from the Cowboys collective, where it was like D-Law not being there is probably the reason that he is there to show leadership, to explain that. What up, Arian? What's going on, bro? So I mean, Dak's been there for voluntary workouts and stuff like that when he got his deal and stuff done too. So it's all on how you play it. I think Micah podcast Parsons, however it was painted before, I just don't think that's true. I don't think that that stops him from his craft. I don't think it makes him any less of a leader. I don't think that it makes him work any less harder when he's not in the building or when he's not there for workouts and stuff. I think that that's far from the truth. I think bro is on his path to greatness, and everybody has their own path. Everybody has a way to that they that they go about it. And I was talking with somebody, and we know that Micah is really big on. I think he's big on Michael Jordan. I think he's big on some of the guys I talk about. That's why when I see it, I know it. You know what I'm saying? I actually ordered that book that Tuck told me about yesterday, Relentless. It's in the mail. You know, Amazon is quick, so it might be here today. But you know it when you see it. Now, I just wasn't as talented as some of the people we talking about. You know what I'm saying? Not as talented as Micah, can't run as fast, not as big, not as tall, not as tall as Kobe, not as tall as Mike. But I have that. I have that. You know, I have exactly what it is that they have, and I use that for everything else, like coaching, um, mentoring. Micah has that. We just got to cultivate that and allow him to grow. We gotta make sure that he has the best soil around him. We got to make sure that Micah has the best soil to become what he's going to become. Hey Lola, how you doing? How you doing? Oh, y'all let me know, man, if I put these on the market, man, if y'all would be interested. But we got a surprise here. Hey, my guy J Tuck. Let me see if it works.
What up? What up? What up, dog? Hold on, let me
What
get my
up?
charger.
Hey, we got a surprise. What's going on, bro?
What's up, everybody? It's good, Cowboys Nation. What's going on with you? Hold up 1 second. Let me put my phone on charger, man. I know I kind of look homeless right now, but it's got off the gym. You know what I'm saying? It's got off the gym, so you know what I'm saying.
Hey, look, hey, bro, I see the chin and the neck and it. I see you getting it in, bro.
Yeah, man, I'm locked in, man. You know what I'm saying? We live to get right for Crawford and Canelo in Vegas, man. You know. So yeah, bro, I've been on it kind of heavy, man. And honestly, it's been like a huge stress release. I've been telling my community, it's just like, yo, it's just lock in time, focusing on the best version of myself, you know. And yeah, so I've been in the gym, bro. I worked out 2 times a day, boxing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm getting right, man. Getting right. So
Yeah,
you know.
absolutely.
So people don't be like, man, I saw Tucker on DMV show, man. He's looking bad. You know what I'm saying? Look at you doing bad.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey,
nah, I'm good,
shoot,
yeah.
hey, it ain't nothing, bro. Shoot,
Yeah.
I just got up, got to get the morning started. Like I was just telling everybody, and shoot, probably in less than 45 minutes, I got my first therapy session. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Yeah, bro.
got to.
Um, Yeah, I was just talking about that yesterday on my live, bro. It's important just to get stuff out. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you're going through something, get out, whether it's therapy or having a good group, with men or people you trust that doesn't pass judgment that you can talk to, man. So, you know how we are in the cover three chat, man. That's what people don't understand about us, man. We talk about I don't think we really talk about football a lot in our chat. You know what I'm saying? We be talking about some other stuff. You see what I'm saying? And that's just how we kind of just built our bond where we can kind of have that transparency and be open and get things out, man. So yeah, man. Salute to you for getting in therapy. So I've never done it, but it's something I've always be interested in doing. But I have a good group of guys who I grew up with, and we get everything out, you know. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
appreciate Life's Crazy for the super chat, $5 super chat. God bless. Thanks for your time, guys. Yeah, so we I don't think we're gonna get a cover 3 episode. Are we on tomorrow or we not?
I
Like
don't know, man. My internet is bugged out. So I mean, we might be able to do it. I might have to do it from my phone. And I know Rome is traveling this week too as well. But like I can't on my studio, I can't get any internet access.
that's
So like
hey, that's
I,
crazy. Either way, man, don't matter to me. Like I
all right.
in, bro. Like it's actually crazy. I had my pot. I just finished going live before all of that stuff went off not too long ago. So
Uh-huh.
at the end of the day, the way that I'm gonna go about it, bro, is I'm gonna use the community is gonna help heal me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, and
Yeah.
the way that it should be. I've been
Right.
hearing your messaging over the last couple of weeks and stuff like that, and I know that the community has kind of gotten goofy. I know that it
Right.
has, but there's still that underlying layer in which
Hmm.
man, and we know that it's still there, and this
Right.
might be the way to really get it back, bro. I mean,
Right.
how
And yeah, man, and we talked about this behind the scenes, bro. It's just, I know the community is it's bad right now. I'm keeping it a buck. It's really bad, right? But there are genuine people who care about us, who leans on us for the proper content, the uncompromised content, who enjoy the work that we do. And we just gotta focus on them. Like that's just been my kind of motto. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can't save everybody, right? But I'm kind of focusing on the people who enjoy my work, whether it's the film breakdown, whether it's just the life discussions that we have, because that's what it's all about, man. It's bigger than the Cowboys. I know we all kind of came into this thing because of the Cowboys, but the relationships and bonds that we build not only with us as content creators, but also with our community. Like bro, I've been talking to Keystone's probably there since I first started my channel. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So it's
shout out
like
to them.
it's yeah, it's dope to see people like Sadiqa and the list goes on and on who are just genuine people who you feel like you've known but you never actually met. And then when you meet them, like I was saying yesterday, just that love and that handshake, it goes a long way. So, that's what it's all about, man. You can't save everybody. Granted, we could probably water down our content and grow and boom to 90, 100,000, get a nice little plaque, but that's not what I really came in for it for, is for people who genuinely love this team and tired of losing and want to win just as bad as, what I'm saying, we all do. So that's what it's about for me.
Yeah, bro,
Yeah.
absolutely. And so you raised some interesting points in your videos and your lives yesterday. So for the people who haven't had the opportunity to go check them out, please go go check out Tuck's videos. So Mel Kiper is kind of cheating paper right now, and you know what I'm saying, he mocked he mocked Matthew Golden to us, bro. Like
Right.
talk about a little bit, like what was your thought behind that? Then we can kind of get into some defense because Micah showed up, so we
Right.
kind of shore up some things there. But talk about
Yeah. Yeah, and so it was funny because I went, kind of improv live Q&A, because that's what I enjoy, man. Like I really haven't done them prior to this year, because I started off with the early walk-in talks, but now since I'm lifting, y'all don't want to see me clank weights around. But it's kind of just an opportunity to talk to Cowboys Nation, and what I was saying yesterday when we went improv was like, now is the time, unfortunately, Cowboys Nation, where we have to stop thinking about what we would do and more than likely what the Cowboys would do. So what I was saying is, when I put my Will McClay, Stephen Jones, Jerry Jones hat on, as ugly as it is, I feel like as much as I love Hampton, much as it seems like Mel Kiper loves Hampton, I feel like the Dallas Cowboys mindset will be that they already have an Amari and Hampton type player in-house, right? When it comes to Javonte Williams, who's young, even though he's coming off the injury, North Carolina blue blood, you know what I'm saying? So he kind of already fits that mold. So if they're going to go running back, they probably want to go with somebody that kind of contrasts what he brings. So that's why I was saying, personally, would I put money on it being Hampton? Probably not. Now, would I love it if they went Hampton? I would cry tears of joy. I'll be ecstatic, but I don't think the Cowboys would do that. So I feel like the Cowboys are going to lean offensively for this pick because they really haven't addressed any help when it comes to the offseason. So, what is the other blinking light when it comes to this Dallas Cowboys roster? And offensively, it's the wide receiver two position. Now, me personally, a lot of people like Mac. I love Mac. I think Mac is going top 10. I think a lot of the stuff you've been hearing, it's just smoke and mirrors.
yeah,
And I
people
feel like
just talk.
I feel like NFL teams is going to have FOMO, fear of missing out. It's like, nah, bro, 6'5", solid hands, wingspan. even if you're a little uncertain, he's like, you know what, I'm just gonna grab it just in case, just in case he turns up. So I feel like at 12, you'll be sitting there, and that's where the Matthew Golden thing will really come into play. I feel like Matthew Golden's a good wide receiver too, opposite of CeeDee Lamb. He was in Dallas. They brought him in for a late visit. He stepped up and played big in big games at the University of Texas. Now, his Texas film was much better for me personally than his Houston film. But the one thing I say about Golden is under the bright lights, he stepped up in the moment. And I feel like we're going to really try to fill that Brandon Cooks void, and especially for cheap. So if it was me, like I said, gun to head, Tuck, even though we're 9 days away from the draft, I would probably say Matthew Golden would be the pick for the Dallas Cowboys. And that's what I said yesterday. And then all of a sudden, Mel Kiper comes out, who has been a Mario Hampton, just switches to Golden. Now, I'm not saying Mel follows my content or he stole my content or anything like that. I'm not accusing Mel of that. But what I'm trying to prove to Cowboys fans is we have to stop just tossing out the expert thing, because there's some of us in this community who do the work and we can think just like they can think, if not better. So, even though I'm on the same track as Mel Kiper, that lets you know that, all right, Tuck might be on to something, or Tuck can actually do this draft content and he's not winging it. So that's why I kind of put that out there. Not that Mel watches my channel, but some analysts, they do watch my channel. They do steal shit. You know what I'm saying? They've even told me that. You know what I'm saying? So I used to be pissed off about it, but now I kind of take it as a badge of honor. But it's just one of those things like, yo, we do the work in this community, some of us, not all.
Yeah,
And we can really kind of think on the same lines as these quote unquote experts. So I think it's probably be more Matthew Golden would probably be the pick to circle in Dallas.
yeah, and I agree. I agree because I think they'll play it safe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that. So it's really based on preference, really, because they're all about the same area. Because the three that we're going to talk about are guys that were top three visits. You
Mm-hmm.
got Golden, you got Ted, or you got Burden,
Mm-hmm.
and you got Emeka Egbuka. They were
Mm-hmm.
all top 30 visits or whatnot, and what I'm saying, they're scrubbing that wide receiver room clean. It's based on all preference. Like
Mm-hmm.
of those guys, I want Emeka, but if they went and got Golden, I wouldn't be upset because
Right.
I've done my due diligence there. That's a good prospect. Luther
Mm-hmm.
Burden, for his ceiling, I think he has the highest ceiling out of those guys, and
Mm-hmm.
need somebody to be a number one. Eventually, he could be that. He just got a dog that we don't have, a dog
Mm-hmm.
type of mentality. Mecca, more of a leader, more of a he's used to winning. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it really depends on what you like there. So
Right.
any of them are wrong. Just to let you know, like I don't.
Right. I feel like a Mecca is the most simplistic plug and play for the separation with the route running. So he kind of gives us that void that we lost in Amari Cooper. But I feel like Golden gives you the bigger playmaking ability, the bigger upside potential. And you guys know how I feel about Luther Burden. I just don't think the Cowboys have the courage to do that. So, I think that Matthew Golden kind of gives you a little bit of both, right? He gives you higher ceiling than a Mecca, right? His route running isn't as pure as a Mecca's, but it's good enough. But he also gives you the over the top to be able to stretch the field ability and big play under bright light. So, it really feels like Matthew Golden would probably be the pick if I had to lean one. I think it's offense, right? I'm pretty much 97% sure our pick at 12 will be offense. What position, I really don't know, because it could be offensive line. They just announced yesterday that the players that's going to attend the draft, and Tyler Booker's name was on that list. You know what I'm saying? So you got some guys that somebody's telling them something to show up there in Wisconsin. So it could be offensive line, but I just think y'all we need
I
instant impact.
think it's receiver.
Yeah, it has to be
It's
wide
receiver
receiver,
or
y'all.
run.
It has to be wide receiver or running back. It has to be skill position. I would be shocked if it's offensive line, unless something crazy happens in like Will Campbell slides or like a Amon Mimbu slide. Like if something happens like that, then they'll probably be like he wasn't supposed to be here and he failed to us. But I would probably say wide receiver would be that position.
And so this is why I wanted to talk defense because I do think we want to leave no stone unturned.
Hmm.
right? And there are a couple prospects on the defensive side that I feel that could happen to, where it's just you're too good of a prospect, and if you're there,
Hmm.
you got to take it.
Hmm.
Mason Graham's one of those guys. I got his name pulled up.
Right.
Feel about Mason Graham if he's there at 12? Do you think if they got all those receivers, do you think that they could still pull the trigger on Mason Graham?
Yeah, absolutely. If Mason Graham falls to you, you grab it and you get the hell up out of there and consider yourself blessed, right? Now, me personally, I talked about this when I dropped the Mason Graham film like earlier on in the season. When it comes to Mason Graham, do I feel like he is a top 10 prospect? No, but based on this class he is. And what do I mean by that? Because the way that people are mocking him or even scouting him is that he's like top five, right? And when I think about that type of impact, I'm thinking Aiden Hutchinson type impact. So would I have Mason Graham over Aiden Hutchinson? Absolutely not.
Hell no.
Would I've had Mason Graham over Jalen Carter? Absolutely not. But I just feel like the way that this draft class is, it has him being top 10, top five, top six, or whatever you want to call it. But with that saying, I feel like he would be versatile in our defense. He's blue collar, can play across the defensive line, 3, 5, you
He,
name
he,
it.
he definitely makes us better, bro. He for
He
sure.
makes us better, right? He makes us better. He absolutely makes us better. Now, my question when it came to Mason Graham is, and I couldn't really get past this in the scouting process, is how do I view Mason Graham as a top 5 pick or a top 10 pick when Braden Fisk was a second rounder? And I feel like it's not massive distance between scouting my guy Fisk last year and scouting Mason Graham. Like it's kind of similar, especially after Fisk went out there and ran his
Yeah.
40. And you know what I'm saying? So if he slid to the second round, why is Mason Graham top five? And that's something I really can't put my finger on. But make no mistakes about it, the kid is good, right? He's a really good player. And if he was to fall to 12, you grab him and get the hell up out of there.
I can tell you why, right? And we've talked about this quite a bit. This isn't really an impact draft as far as like the players. Like there are a couple guys that you know what I'm saying Creed rise to the top, but there's
Right,
a bunch of guys that you like. There's not a bunch of guys that you love. That's why I'm
right,
pushing Genty and Tet because we love those guys. But when you
right.
talk about Mason Graham,
Hmm.
really good player. But do you love Mason Graham?
Right, right. Outside of Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, I would say personally for me, there's not a lot of love,
Yeah,
And you guys have followed my draft content long enough where it's like if I, see if I find a guy, it's just like, but it's like I like them, you know what I'm saying? Like, what I'm saying? They cool, but I ain't trying to marry nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just how I feel with a lot of these prospects. So, if it's Tet, I like Tet, but if you want to argue Tet versus Golden or Tet versus Burden, I'm just like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like what they
yeah,
say on
yeah.
Hustle and Flow, he belong to me, but he don't belong to me. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I feel when it comes to a lot of these prospects, whether it's Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, Darius Alexander. It's just,
Walter
you
Nolan.
know,
Because look, that's who I had. I had Walter Nolan as one of the guys that we were going to talk about because he was a
right,
30 visit. Like the Senior Bowl, thought it was cool, but it's like I don't love nobody. You know what I'm
right,
saying? Like
yeah,
playing the field.
yeah,
And so I think that if Dallas absolutely loves somebody, they gotta take him, bro. Like if
right,
Omari Hampton and y'all love him, go take him because
right,
there's a whole bunch to like about this draft, not a
right.
to love about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, tossing Jinty into that mix, right? He's a lovable, but he's gone, right? So after that, yeah. So like, if you wanted Walter Nolan, I can argue Kenneth Grant versus Walter Nolan, or Darian Harmon, or we could have conversations like so. Even Mike Green and Shamar Stewart, and it's like all these things.
Yeah,
Like it just doesn't
Mark Stewart, yeah,
like, oh
he's
my
gonna
god,
help.
like what I'm saying, like it's not gonna be the oh my god CeeDee Lamb reactions will probably be like from a Genty. I would probably have that reaction, but everyone else is kind of like, I mean, that's a good pick. You know what I'm saying? Dallas Cowboys select Matthew Golden out of Texas. Okay, good, solid pick. Good pick. Let's go. Let's keep working. Like there's still work to do. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, all right, we're good. Because when we drafted CD, it's crazy that we drafted CD. Like, we didn't even care that we got Diggs in the second round. It was just like, bro, we were still celebrating CD. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was that type of reaction. But I feel like at 12 this year, it'll be like, eh, eh, you know.
Yeah. And Keystone brought up a good point about CJ West, Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Man, look, Keystone does some good work with the sleeper files.
Yeah.
CJ has a lot of one technique experience, and I think
Right.
that a lot of these D tackles we're talking about. So I see Asiatic Pain talking about being soft in the trenches. You got to
Mm-hmm.
realize that a lot of these D tackles are three techniques. We just signed
Mm-hmm.
Osa to
Right.
a contract, so
Mm-hmm.
it's like you'd be going into a situation like you were with Mozzie again, where it's just like, okay, we got this guy, but how are we working the snaps? You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And
Right.
I think that they need to be looking more towards depth at the one tech or
Right.
somebody that does a little bit of both. And I don't know that you get that at 12. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just there's no one that from a one text perspective that really jumps out because you could go with yeah, because you can't go Tyreek at 12, right? That's too rich. Even
Hell,
with Harmon's a three, Nolan's a three. So when you get to the big body guys, you're talking about Tyreek Williams possibly. You're talking about the Alexanders, my guy Deonte Walker, like those types of guys. But that's not Alfred Collins, like, but that's not a pick at 12. Like this is day
it's
two
not.
conversations. But like you said, DMB, a lot of these guys are threes. Like a guy that I'm, really kind of high on is Jared Harrison Hunter out of SMU, but it's three tech. So even
Yeah, exactly.
You mentioned CJ, right? He's three tech. He's like three something like
Well, he
three
had
ten.
more at one tech. He had more one tech snaps than he had three tech this year. But over the course of his career, was more three.
Three tech, right? And his body size for the NFL level, he'll be viewed as a three.
Uh huh.
So and it also really depends on what Matt's process is, how he really wants to build it. So I do agree when it comes to the trenches, but my whole standpoint when it came to the trenches, especially defensively, is go spend some of this restructured money that we got. You see what I'm
That
saying?
part, man. Go
Like
buy.
you know what I'm saying, like I'd
Go.
rather just go buy me some trenches, like draft me the skill players and buy me the trenches. So that's where my focus was kind of been, but I guess Cowboys fans kind of giving up because we ain't buying no trenches, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Yeah,
so I
bro.
understand the frustration.
We shopping at Aldi, bro.
Yeah, I saw
We at
someone
Aldi.
mention my guy Josh Farmer out of FSU. So he can play. So it's different playing three. Also, when you talk about guys who played one tech versus three at the college level, it also comes down to their scheme as well. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah,
remember, Sam Williams played a lot of three tech. He played inside at Ole Miss. And the NFL level, he's essentially just a five guy. So it's like
ab-
when it comes to the NFL level, there's measurables they kind of go off of. There's stature. There's all sorts of different things, and that's not only with the defensive tackle room, but also with the offensive tackles. A lot of these offensive tackles, they're more guard stature at the NFL level, which is making things complex, right? Because hand size, lower body, all that stuff matters. Calves, they're
exactly.
looking at all of it.
Yeah, for sure. And you got to make it work with what you want. We always talk about this all the time. Your staff, your staff has to make it work. And I think that in years past, we've been drafting players that not
Hmm.
necessarily these coaches wanted. You know,
Right,
and they.
right,
I think that Mozzie was kind of caught in the middle of that. You know,
right.
now we're still trying to make that work. Or I think Guyton was that. In my, opinion.
Hmm.
I don't think they really wanted Guyton. I think they really
Right.
Barton. And that brings me to my next point where Asiatic Pains in the comments talking about trade back to 17, get Grant, get extra second, grab running back. We have second round picks. And I'm just like, you're talking to a team last year that traded out of the pick where they really wanted the guy and he was there, and
Hmm.
traded back, he wasn't, which was
Hmm.
Martin.
You
And
got
ended
cute,
up with
right?
guy. So it's like I think they're probably gonna be more reluctant to do that this year
Hmm.
because of what happened. And I
Hmm.
think that's why the top 30 visits that you're looking at, the combine visits you're looking at, the list looks really, it's a really good list based on how it been previous. Like, I don't think that they want to get this wrong, and I think that they're
Yeah.
prepared to stay pat at where they're at.
And see, also what we're missing out on, because I talked about this on Twitter the other day, and I was wrong, right? So it's like the Dallas Cowboys don't sign any of their 30 visits, right? Because I guess Maris was a 30 visit last year, but he wasn't revealed. So as of right now, I think we're at 18 of the 30 visits technically that's been revealed. So there's some guys that they are just keeping in the tuck, like what I'm saying, off the radar. We're just gonna be like, okay, so I get that, because I think Joseph Hoyt, Suits Joe, was saying that under Garrett, it was more like if you a 30 visit, it's probably about 3 or 4 of them things. And then Mike McCarthy is kind of like keep everything in the tuck. And you guys remember back in that 2021 class, we had those virtuals, right? We saw the virtual with Kyle Pitts, and we all lost our mind, and virtual with this and virtual, but they never showed the virtual with Micah Parsons. You see what I'm saying? So it's like the Cowboys are keeping a few players in the tuck that's not being displayed. And also, I understand it probably why, because Mike McCarthy understands not only from an NFL perspective, but you got some smart ass content creators out there and some smart ass fan base like Professor O and myself and yourself and others that can really put the pieces of the puzzle together. You know what I'm saying? Because the way that I was able to nail that Overshown pick right before it was called, he probably like, nah, bro, we got to keep things on the tuck. So I feel like there's some guys that's kind of flowing off the radar, but when it comes to defensive tackle, I would not pull that plug at 12 unless it's like Mason Graham slides for whatever
Yeah, then you
reason.
figure it out. Mason Graham to me is a guy that if he slides, you figure it out.
Right, right. And you mentioned last year, right, the trade back scenario with Tyler Guyton. They got cute, and you can't get cute with a first time head coach in Brian Schottenheimer. Like he needs ammo. Like I think like you can't get cute. And I feel like what happened last year, and I talked to Cooper Beebe's dad, like they never, ever, ever even talked to Cooper. They never spoke to him. There was nothing, right? And I feel like what happened when they missed out on Mason Graham, they had to get creative. And the story that Coop's dad told me was they called Duke and was like, yo, that kid that was training, from K State, yeah, at guard and tackle, like, yeah, like, think he can play center? And Duke was like, I mean, he's never played the position before. And they were like, you think you can get him ready? And he was like, sure, we can try. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, all right, shit, okay. Because we messed up with this Graham Barton thing, you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying, trying to
sure.
replace Tyler Biadasz. So we got to figure out something. So they able to kind of get a 2-for-1 with the trade back and end up working, from the Cooper Beebe standpoint. But you can't afford that, not with this draft, not picking at 12 to be too cute. Because if you miss out, and let's say you don't come out with 3 stars, like I was saying yesterday in this draft, our season looks bleak. And I know that's not, they're pissing rainbows on the timeline that, people really want from us, but they have to hit 3 or 4 in this draft where it's like, okay, it's an instant upgrade the moment that their names are called.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that that's where you got to be careful about edge too. I know
Mm-hmm.
that I know my guy Foots has been pushing edge. He's been pushing Shamar Stewart, based on the Senior Bowl. Been pushing James Pierce because James
Uh-huh.
former 5 star and all that. But I think about the edge room, and I kind of think that we have more depth there defensively than
Right.
probably anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, there's for me personally, there's no need for an edge at 12. I know people have mentioned Shamar Stewart and even Mike Green's. This goes on and on, but you got Nealon, right? You drafted last year in
For
this
sure.
second round, Nealon. Then you also have Sam Williams returning on a contract year. You just brought back Fowler. You have Micah, right?
Yeah.
You got Peyton Turner. You know what I'm saying? You got Solomon Thomas, who kind of so it's like I feel like you have enough edges. Now, do we have quality edges? I don't know, but you know what I'm saying? Some people feel like we killed it this offseason, so maybe we do. So I feel like we have more than enough edges. The interior needs to get stronger, right? The interior inside needs to get stronger, not the perimeter. And that's offensively and defensively, I would say. And I think, my thing when it comes to the offensive line is if I'm going offensive line personally, I think right guard is perfectly fine. I'm not too concerned about right guard. The left tackle still is a question mark for me. Because yes, we hope that Tyler Guyton takes a leap. Yes, he's
Not,
going to have a complete offseason under Duke, right, at left tackle. But I'm not banking my quarterback. He just tore his hamstring off the bone off of that. You know what I'm saying? So if there's a quality left tackle that slides to 12 and they pull the trigger, would I like it? No, but I would feel more okay. I understand why they did it because you have to protect our older quarterbacks' blind side, and there could be a massive risk where, let's say, Tyler Guyton just doesn't get it. Right? Some kids don't get it. It might take 3 years. It might take 4 years for them to click. Right? I can't go into this season without any insurance policy at left tackle. So I would understand left tackle. It would kind of suck from the excitement from the fan base's standpoint,
Oh, we're gonna
but
be hot, bro. We're gonna be hot,
yeah,
but I understand it. I understand.
because my simple fix would be just kick Tyler Smith ass out the left
We
tackle.
should have done that last year, bro.
He should have.
We should have done it last year, and
Hmm.
I think that then you get Graham Barton at whatever pick we had last year, and I don't
Right.
think the situation we're in right now.
Right. You could have kicked Tyler Smith out the left tackle, Cooper Beebe over the left guard, and had Brock Hoffman at center and got right back to football.
Yep, for sure. So I think
You know what I'm
people
saying?
overthink it too, and I do think we can still upgrade right guard or maybe upgrade competition still in this draft and just not
Right.
first round.
Yeah, you'll have UDFAs, you'll have, all sorts of stuff. You'll have all sorts of stuff. My dog JC, what's up, bro? He said Josh Simmons a top six player to me. He's the only guy on the offensive line. Yeah,
Me
so
too.
Josh
Me
Simmons was
too.
the fall.
I agree
Right,
wholeheartedly.
right.
Wholeheartedly.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
Josh Simmons was the fall, I would take it at 12. The guy that I would watch out for would be Kelvin Banks out of Texas. Because he has that positional flex.
You was joking about it, and it might come true.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would keep an eye on Amon Mimbu out of Missouri and also Kelvin Banks. Like that could be a guy where Cowboys fans get blindsided on draft day because when it comes to Kelvin Banks, he kind of gives me that Slater mode, right? Where it's like he played phenomenal at left tackle, but he can also slide in and play guard at the NFL level. So it kind of gives you that just in case of emergency when it comes to him. Um, so yeah, but me personally, bro, is I'm team weapons to the fullest. Enough's enough,
Me
you
too.
know.
And that so there's one more name that I want to kind of throw at you. Then eventually I gotta probably get up out of here.
All right.
But I'm looking at it, and I really love this combine. I love his tape. I know you're a linebacker guy. What if they say Jahad Campbell at pick 12?
I mean, I understand it because I also feel like it's a need, right? But for Jahad Campbell, once again, love his film. He's my number one linebacker, if you're not counting Jalen Walker, right? Like pure linebacker, Jahad Campbell. He can fill the void now. Of course, he had the injury at the combine, so I'm not sure what his recovery time would be. But film wise, big body, run game, run stuffer, like it's something that we've been missing.
The blitz too.
Um,
Hell of a
yeah,
blitz.
it's something we've been missing, but I still just, and like I say, I think this is the problem with the Cowboys in free agency. We didn't really address it. Like, we really didn't plug these holes. And
Now,
now we have a lot of holes in our roster where we're going to the grocery store hungry.
yeah,
We should not be going into the draft, the 12th pick, and talking about could we go guard? We need a guard. We need a left tackle. We also need a running back. We also need a wide receiver. Hey, we also need a defensive tackle. Hey, we also consider
yeah.
corner. We
It's too
also should
much,
get a lot.
dog.
Like,
It's too.
bro, look how many different scenarios that we have at the 12th pick. Like that's crazy to me. So I love Jahad Campbell's film. I'm not having tracked this injury and see how the recovery is, but I would understand it, but still, man, it's just like, damn, you should have handled this in free agency. You know,
I wholeheartedly agree. We just got to talk about it, dog. We have to talk about
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
100%
yeah.
offensive weapon, dog. Running
Right.
like if I had my way, if I had my way, I'm keeping my eye on Genty, and I think they are too. That's a guy I think they're keeping off the radar how much they really love him.
I just think Genty's not getting there no more, bro. The days
Yeah,
of us having fun and talking about Genties and making jersey swaps, bro, I would be shocked if
you
Genty
would
if
have
Genty
you would
gets
have to get
anywhere
past,
to 8, you gotta go get him.
yeah. No, I was gonna say if he get past 6, you got to get him. You got
Right,
to go. You got to trade with the Jets, who probably needs more.
right,
He'll probably go back to 12 because they could probably still get. I mean, shoot, he didn't get an invite to the draft, but Shador ain't even get an invite to the draft. You know what I'm saying? They
right,
can
right,
pick
right.
quarterback. They can
Well, I
pick
think
quarterback.
I'm not sure if he took it or not. I think Yeah, I think it's smoke and mirrors. But yeah, I think you gotta go. You got if Genty gets past 6 in Chicago, got you know what I'm saying? He's gotta go make it happen, bro. Like go make and that's what people want to see from the Cowboys. JC said that's why I didn't make a Genty video, bro. I didn't make one either. You know, I know you did, DMV. I
Yeah,
was like,
I
we
made I
lost
made it.
Genty when we wanted to be heroes versus Washington and Tampa and shit. He's long gone, right? He's long gone. But I think that, yeah, he's gone. But if he gets past 6, bro, go get him.
Yeah,
Like, you
yeah,
know,
because he's
yeah,
impact when you think about it, like with how our line is right now, with the guys we have in place, and we look at how they executed last year. We look at some of the holes and some of the things that were left on the field based on pedigree. I
mhm,
just think that he houses a couple of those, and that changes
right.
how we're viewed in the league.
Right.
What makes it easy.
He fixes a lot of things, right? He fixes a lot of things when it comes to just our offense, right? Because one, you have a guy that you can lean on. You can lean on Genty, and let's say shit hits the fan and they're still going Jalen Tolbert and Brooks and Turpin and CeeDee Lamb. I could give you Genty 25, 30 carries and still get out there and win ball
It's
games.
carries, dog. It's the touches. You can throw him the ball too
Right.
if they
Swing passes,
yeah.
screens, all of that, right? I could literally just feed Genty and get the hell up out of there and still win ball games, right? So if he's there, I mean, yeah, by all means, bro. Like I feel like, honestly, for me, I'm really not gonna do my top 50 board because I'm like people weren't paying attention to it anyway, so I do the work. But outside of Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter, it's Genty at 3 for me as overall impact player.
I agree. I think that yeah, for sure. I think to me, like players as far as who I think the best player is, I think it's Abdul Carter. I think it's Genty and Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter, right? Those three, right?
Those
Those
three, yeah, for
those
sure.
three, right? Those are guys I can toss on the field right now and lose zero sleep, and I just know I got me one.
Yeah, even if Abdul Carter's injury is effed up, right, and
Yeah,
there's a chance for him, I'm still if he fell to 12, I don't
yeah.
give a
I tell people like Abdul Carter for me
yeah.
is like like we watch like Marvel movies and X-Men. I'm a huge X-Men fan. It's just like he
Mhm.
took that Wolverine DNA out of Micah and shot it into to Abdul Carter and built a damn super soldier. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just
Yeah,
like so the kid is freaking phenomenal. And I was making film sessions. Like he was my very first film session. 'Cause I thought we had a chance. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, we can add.
yeah, and so that's why we have to talk about it though. We have to address how we feel about these guys because
Right.
if it happens, then it's like, man, I already know Jay Tuck how he feel about him, so I feel
Hmm.
great about this. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Because a couple years ago, I think was it 2020 Micah's draft. Was it 2020 or 2021?
2021, right? Yeah, 2021.
All right, in 2021, did you think we had a shot in hell at getting Micah Parsons?
The only reason why I thought we did is because one, he was an opt-out guy, and two, a lot of scouts were just saying he was just a linebacker, right? And I'm just like, I don't know what the hell they were looking at because this is back before I even had film on my own. You know what I'm saying? So I was going back watching games. I'm like, no, bro, he can play, and that's why I did my video on him. Like he can play inside, outside. He can play on the edge. He can put his hand in the dirt. He can stand up 3, 4, like whatever you need from this kid. He got it. You know what I'm saying? But everyone's like, oh, he's a linebacker. I'm just like, I guess. So I think that's why I kind of knew he would be there. Now, selfishly, I think if he would have had a full combine and a full scouting process, I don't think Micah would be there. You see what I'm saying? But
To
I
me,
knew.
I didn't think Micah would be there. I
Uh,
knew Micah how everybody's viewing Abdul Carter right now. I'm like,
okay,
ain't no way in hell Micah getting there. No way.
right,
So when we
right,
got him, I was like, oh,
yeah.
like
Yeah,
yeah,
but see, like I said, Micah was another one of those who was kind of tucked off in the back corner.
yeah.
And Dan Quinn came in and got his guy. But I feel like Abdul Carter is going top 3, top 4 because of Micah Parsons. Teams are saying, I'll be damned if I miss out on this ever again. Selfishly and crazy, Cowboys fans want to trade him away. But NFL teams are saying, nah, bro, I don't care if he's, the Timu Micah Parsons, we still want this on our roster, whether even the Giants are considering. So, you know, um, but yeah, I think when it comes to just this draft class, after you get around 5 or 6, you don't really fall in love with a lot of these prospects. Like I actually love a lot more day two, day three guys, and I love you
Yeah,
know, day one guys, if we're being honest. Like
fact.
I love Darian Porter, cornerback out of Iowa State. I love Amari Hampton. I love Devin Neal. I love Luther Burden, who could be a day two guy. So like yeah, I think day two is where my fun really begins, to be honest with
Yeah,
y'all.
for sure. I love JT, whatever his name is from Ohio State. I love him, bro.
Right,
As a player,
right.
got a couple of guys like him, but
Right.
yeah,
And you mentioned linebacker, another guy, that could probably be day two. I probably thought he was going to possibly sneak up in the round one, possibly, but he didn't because of his age. It's Demetrius Knight out of South Carolina. So
yeah,
he's another big body linebacker. But the problem is, shit, he the same age as Micah. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
it's just like I think that can limit him. But hell, you took Schoonmaker in the second, and he was, what I'm saying, he was old as hell too. So I feel like that could be a guy who can kind of give you that big body linebacker. Um, you know, trying to think who else. You have Chris Paul, but some of these guys are kind of a little undersized. Um, are you guys going live during the draft, or are y'all going to just kick it back and watch it on TV? So I will be there at the draft, and we might do cover three, right? Like maybe a pre-draft show. Um,
Yeah, I
so
know. I
yeah,
see in Rome. I think we gonna go with. I think we're doing a show with Boss too, because I
okay,
you at there, so we could definitely do a cover three pre show, and then yeah. But me and Rome,
okay,
we gonna plug in with Boss.
cool, 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 cool. So yeah, so there you hear it first. So yeah. Um, and yeah, I know you talked about Carson, I think it's Schwarzenegger. He has, I mean, he's what, 240 something, like 245 out of UCLA. So I like him as well. He can kind of give you that LVE type vibe. But for me, man, like I want some veteran guys. You know what I'm saying? Like if he's gonna be my middle linebacker, I need veteran guys out there, and I feel like Maris can take the lead because it's one thing that we talked about when it came to Maris last year, and you did the film session on Maris, we talked about him highly, was Maris' IQ was through the freaking roof.
Oh
You know what
yeah,
I'm
he
saying?
on year two. He's
His
gonna be
so his
crazy, bro.
IQ, like, yeah, that's the one thing I like, bro. Like, I was watching him play, like, God, this kid is like
Oh yeah,
damn near
hell yeah, he's gonna be
Megamind,
real.
So maybe he takes the reins, but the hardest part about that is a brand new defense that he's learning, um so we'll see. But I like Carson. I like Demetrius Knight. Another guy who I like, who's kind of high motor, but he's a little undersized, is Nick Martin out of Oklahoma State. He kind of gives me that overshowness type, just wiry type feel. But he'll probably be maybe day three. Trying to think, going through my notes
I was
here.
about to say, yeah, I got a hard stop, bro. I got to
Okay, all right,
appreciate it.
cool. We can start cooking, bro. All
Let's
right,
talk
Doug.
later though. Let's bring this back later,
Yeah,
and
we
we
can wrap later.
okay. Hey, appreciate y'all, man. Thank everybody who tapped in, and yeah, we're gonna talk about this a little later. Good conversation, bro. Hey,
All
and
right, y'all.
I'm gonna holler. Peace.